Okay, we are live, everyone. Hey there, beautiful people. Welcome back to Save Our Sisters Unplugged, the podcast where we empower, inspire, and share stories to remind you that you are never alone in this journey of life. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, child, so you never miss a new episode and when I go live. I'm so excited for today's episode because it's a taboo topic and I'm here for it. My guest, Liz Hansen, is the owner and photographer at Chicago Boudoir Photography, a boutique studio that empowers women to feel confident in their bodies, their relationships, and their lives. She opened her business in 2018 and quickly grew it to be Chicago area's premier boudoir studio. She coaches photographers to reach their dreams through her online coaching program, Million Dollar Studio. Now, when Liz is not behind the camera, she is on the TEDx stage convincing audiences that nudity isn't naughty. And she has also been featured on national television and as an educator with the Association of International Boudoir Photographers. Welcome, Liz.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad that you can be here. I'm just loving everything that you're doing, and I'm just so excited for this conversation.
Yeah, it's a little naughty, it's a little taboo.
Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's dive into everything because I am interested in this boudoir world. And I couldn't even, I'm so childish sometimes. I couldn't even say the word boudoir without having a smile on my face.
Yeah, and
When
a
you
lot of
hear the,
people don't know what boudoir is, but boudoir is a fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom. But
Mhm.
for me, boudoir photography is taking sensual photos of women to help them feel empowered and comfortable in their own skin.
I love it. I love it. So let's dive into how you even got there. Let's talk about your journey a little bit. Take us back to like young Liz. What was your relationship with confidence and self-image like growing up?
I grew up in a fairly conservative household and kind of understood that bodies were shameful and should be covered, and I shouldn't play too big in the sense that I
Mm,
should speak out. I should kind of maybe be quiet and keep the rules, right? And
hmm.
as I grew older, I realized that I did have a voice and that I had things to say, but it took me a while to discover that.
Yeah. And I can understand growing up in a conservative environment for sure, because that definitely plays a role into how you're gonna think about certain things, right? Especially what goes on in the bedroom.
Yeah, I mean, sex was definitely off limits in the house I grew up in. It was never discussed. I mean, it wasn't we didn't talk about it being bad. We just didn't talk about it at all, right?
Right.
Any of those taboo topics around women, menstruation, sex, bodies, body image, we just didn't talk about it. And as a child, I understood that I wasn't supposed to talk about these things, and so I didn't ask a lot of questions and I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that stuff either. Most of what we learned in health class.
Yeah, and my parents even opted me out of health class.
Really?
Yeah, they called the school and they were like, "I don't want my child going to that." So I didn't even get health class, right?
Oh,
So
wow. So so basically they were your teachers then.
yeah, but silent teachers, not saying anything.
Oh, okay. So they didn't want you to just learn. They wanted to keep you in a
Figured,
bubble.
yeah, I figured stuff out. I learned stuff, but it wasn't from my parents.
Wow. Yeah, sounds like we grew up in similar households because aside from health class, we never talked about any of that stuff. Um, Not that it was taboo, but I don't know. I don't know if my parents just didn't know how to have the conversation, but when I started having my own kids, I was all about it. I mean, I had the books, I had examples, like, I had visual aids, like I was all about it. I wanted them to really get the nitty-gritty, get the good the good instructions and the good conversations from me. I didn't want to have to rely on a public school to teach them everything that they know about life.
I mean,
So
absolutely. When you refuse to talk to your children about certain topics, then it tells your children that there's something shameful about it, that there's something, if we can't even talk about it, how terrible must it be, right?
I
So
agree.
when you shut down the conversation, when you avoid topics, when you opt your kids out of sex ed, you're basically giving them the message like, this is not okay. You can't talk about it. You can't think about it. It's too taboo. And to me, that's not healthy. That's not the right approach.
I agree with you. I don't think it's very healthy. It's like if it's like you're telling them that, just like you said, it is shameful, but then you're leaving them up to creating their own narratives too, or going to their knucklehead friends for the information, and that could be worse than you not saying anything at all.
Exactly. And kids are curious and kids are going to find stuff out. Do you want them to find it out on the playground, in the locker room, or from you and trusted sources? So if you're not
Exactly.
saying anything, you're leaving a vacuum.
Yeah, I agree. So was there a moment when your view of beauty or worth began to shift?
There were definitely several moments along the way. For me, something that was really transformational was doing a boudoir photo shoot. So more than a decade ago, I decided to sign up for a boudoir photo shoot. I was already married at this time. I had 2 kids, but I had started kind of this journey of trying to be a little bit more confident, a little bit more self-exploration, a little bit more leaning into who I really was and who I wanted to become. So I signed up for a boudoir photo shoot. And by the way, if you've never heard of a boudoir photo shoot, boudoir, like I said, is this fancy French word that means a woman's bedroom, but a boudoir photo shoot is taking sensual, sexy photos in lingerie or nude to feel empowered, to create a gift, to create some memories. So I signed up for this and I was absolutely shaking in my boots, right? Like,
I'm sure.
yeah, I mean, I was very, very nervous. I'd never done anything like this before. I'd never stepped out of my comfort zone in this way. I had a lot of fears about what I would look like, how I would be judged by the photographer.
Hmm.
It just felt very exposing. I'd never, I mean, I just never done anything like this before. But I got through it. I had actually a good time during the boudoir photo shoot. And afterwards, I felt this increased confidence, this desire to show up in bigger ways in my life. So I look back at that as this like really important moment for me in my development.
Well, I'm glad that you actually stepped out of your comfort zone and did that, because it gives you a behind the lens, well, in front of the lens perspective. So
Yeah,
let's talk
absolutely.
about let's talk about when you started to discover that. Like, so was that the point that led you into the world of boudoir photography or photography in general?
So at that time, I was already a photographer.
Okay.
I've been photographing babies, families, weddings, kind of normal
Yeah.
things, events. But after this experience where I signed up for my own boudoir photo shoot, I really felt like this was something I wanted to offer to other women as well. My experience was so fun, so transformative, so important to me that I really felt like every woman needs this experience. Every woman deserves to feel confident and empowered. Every woman deserves to have a place and a time where she can step outside of her comfort zone and experience this. So I decided to open my own boudoir photography studio, and I've been running that full time since 2018. I've photographed more than 2,000 women
Oh,
and just
wow.
really love it.
Wow. That's a lot of women.
Yeah, I mean, boudoir is my business. It's what I do. It's what I love to do. But I have this broader mission that keeps me going, which is that I really believe that our world needs more women who will stand up and kind of claim their place in the world. I think as women, as girls, a lot of times we have been socialized, and I know I
Hmm.
was, to kind of play small, to be quiet, to keep the rules
Yeah.
back, take a back seat to others, right? But
Yeah.
our world needs women who are willing to step up. And So that's my broader mission, is this sense that our world needs women and needs their voices. And I hope that through my boudoir photography a little bit, I'm accomplishing that mission.
I think you are. I think you are for sure because just like you said, we have been conditioned to dim our light, to be muted, to sit on the back seat. And I just love how you have taken the reins of that. And you want to really just change that narrative to just really empower women. So I know a lot of women may feel vulnerable and insecure about doing boudoir shoot. Maybe they've just had a baby, or maybe they're trying to lose weight, or maybe they're still on their journey, or maybe they're even, at the end of their journey, they just want to show off. So how do you really help them move past some of the "Ugh, I'm not sure if I can do this" feelings when they come to your suit?
Yeah, I mean, I understand this 100%. I mean, I think it's very natural to feel insecure, to feel like you're not ready, to feel like you're not perfect. My goal as a boudoir photographer is not to make you look perfect. And I'm using air quotes. My goal is to not make you look like anyone else. My goal is to celebrate you just as you are right now. I think you are beautiful, valuable, and worthy today, right now, just as you are. Now, in a few years, you change your life, you lose weight, you cut your hair, whatever, guess what? We'll do another photo shoot because you're valuable, worthy, and it should be photographed then too. I think every point along the way, every point of a woman's journey is beautiful and valuable and worth documenting. So there's no such thing as being ready. It's just who you are now is you're worth photographing that right here, right now, today. And let's be honest, there is no such thing as perfection, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all think there's some perfect body, perfect hair, perfect skin. It doesn't exist. We're human, right? And humans, part of our beauty is our irregularity, our the flawed nature of ourselves. That perfectness that you're seeking might be photoshopped. And hey, I'll do a little Photoshop on your pictures if you want. But the little flaws, quote unquote, that you see about yourself, that's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. And I think I can create beauty out of that. And it's just, I just love celebrating women just as they are.
Well, listen, I looked at your website and I saw the before and after pictures, and my mouth dropped. I was like, wow, what a transformation.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, there are a couple things we do definitely at the studio to help you feel comfortable and ready for your photo shoot. So first off, we provide professional hair and makeup. So
okay.
you're going to come to the studio with no makeup on, clean, dry hair, and we're going to get you camera ready. So I have a beauty team there ready, waiting for you. We have a lot of experience with all different skin tones, hairs, textures, ages. So we're going to do makeup and hair to make you look camera ready. That means airbrush makeup to get that flawless skin look. It means false lashes. You could do a bright red, bold lip, or you could go more, natural and subdued. But we're going to get you looking ready for the camera, because you all know, as women, a little hair and makeup can give you a little boost,
It
right?
can do wonders. And
Yes.
listen, you come into the studio nervous and unsure, and then you just leave there bold and empowered because, as I understand it, they get to see the pictures right at the shoot.
Yeah, that's something special that I do at my studio. I'm actually not really aware of any other boudoir photographers in my area that do this. I really want women to come in and have a whole experience. So you get your hair and makeup done, and then we take the pictures. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do and how to pose. You don't have to know how to do this. You don't have to practice in front of a mirror. I'm going to use studio lights to highlight your best assets, make you look fabulous. And then right after the shoot, before you even leave the studio, what I'm going to do is show you a slideshow of your pictures. And this is a really, really important part of the process because, number one, I don't want you to go home from the shoot and be like, I don't know how that went. Did we get anything?
Yeah.
Oh, that one pose, maybe I looked weird. I'm going to think about it for 2 weeks and I'm going to stress about it. No, I want you to know, have immediate gratification and know right here and now that your pictures look good. And then also, number two, really important piece, I want you to see the pictures without photoshopping. Here's why. Now listen, you have a blemish on your face, something. I'm going to take that off later before we print it in your album. But I want you to see the pictures without Photoshop. I want you to see the pictures just as you are. Here's why. I am really confident that I can create pictures that you will love without Photoshop, without a filter. I want you to see you as you are, the beautiful queen that you are, without all that. So I'm going to show you the pictures right then and there, right after your photo shoot. I'm really confident that you're going to love the pictures. And then later, if you want a little Photoshop on them, sure, we'll throw it on. But I want you to see the pictures just as they are.
I love that, because we are our worst critics as women, and we may look at something and look at it as a negative, like, oh, I don't like these extra rolls I have. But when you pose in a certain way, it doesn't even matter.
I call it the magic of photography. The lighting, the posing, the way you feel when you're posing for the camera, I believe that I can bring out something in you that you might not know that's there. I can see you in a way that you haven't seen yourself before. And that's what I want to show you. You are beautiful, you are worthy, and I want to show that to you from my point of view.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think that is so important. So what do you want every woman to understand about her body, her beauty, her power, whether she books with you or not?
I love this question. I mean, I wish I had a bullhorn and I could say this to the whole world, which is, you are a magnificent creature. You are powerful beyond belief. I think a lot of times as women, we just don't understand how much value we have. There is nothing you can do or say that will ever diminish your value. You are of infinite value. You are a divine creature from birth to death, from before, beyond, and nothing can dim that. No matter what you've done, where you've been, your value is still infinite. You can't earn more value, and you can't diminish your value, because just by being you, you are of infinite value. If you can't understand this, think about this just for a second. The last time you've held a newborn baby in your hand, is there anything more precious than holding a little baby in your arm, right?
No.
We, as a society, as families, we hold that baby and we love that baby and we cherish that baby. Has that baby earned any money? No. Has that baby earned any degrees? Has that baby lost any weight? Has that baby paid any bills? Has that baby accomplished anything? No. But yet we understand intrinsically how beautiful and valuable that baby is, right? You are still that valuable and intrinsically fabulous. As you've grown, you've just maybe forgotten it a little bit because you thought, oh, I've made these mistakes, or I've done this, or I haven't done that, or I look this way, or I look that way. But I hope you can understand that you are just as infinitely valuable as you have ever been.
I love that. I love that. I probably needed to hear that myself. My soul needed to hear that. I'm on a little bit of a weight loss journey here. And, after you become a woman of a certain age, the weight doesn't go off as quickly, and you cannot choose the parts of the body that you want the weight to go away from. It just goes from wherever. So I really love that. That really resonated with me.
And it's something I need to continually remind myself as well. Listen, I'm here in this journey with you, doing this work with you. I don't have everything figured out, but part of the reason I love to sit with women like you and sit with women in my studio and work with them is because I feel your value just being here with you. And that's important to me as well.
I love that. So can you share a moment where you had like a client that saw herself in a different light and it gave you the chills?
Yeah, thanks for asking that. I work with so many amazing women that come into my studio. And listen, everyone that comes in, I know that they've put a lot of trust in me and that they are there in a moment of vulnerability, right? If you're coming in to take nude photos, right? Like, this isn't just an everyday, right? You're not coming in to buy a pair of shoes, right? So the fact that you have stepped into my studio and that you've agreed to do a boudoir photo shoot, to me, it's an honor. And I know that people put a lot of trust in me to do something like this. So women come to my studio for a lot of different reasons. Maybe they're getting married and they want to do a bridal boudoir photo shoot. Maybe they've been on a fitness journey and they want to celebrate their progress. Maybe they got divorced and they're on the other side of that and they're feeling something different about their life now in this next chapter. They are expecting a baby. Maybe they're on an infertility journey. Maybe they had a baby a couple years ago and they've got a new perspective on their body. Maybe it's a first anniversary gift. Maybe it's a 30th anniversary gift. Maybe they've been diagnosed with breast cancer. Maybe they are they're a breast cancer warrior and they're post-cancer. So there are a lot of reasons why people come into the studio. And I remember, to tell you a specific story, I remember recently a woman came into the studio and she had lost all of the hair on her head and on her body through it's a disease called alopecia.
Yeah,
So
I'm familiar.
Yeah. So it wasn't chemo, but she looked kind of like she'd been through chemo, right? So all the hair was gone. And, this was devastating for her. It had changed how she felt about her body, about her outlook on life, her social life, her dating life. It was just, you don't realize how much your hair affects your looks and your confidence.
Yeah.
And she wanted to do 2 different sessions. So basically we did one session where the hair makeup artist drew on her eyebrows. She wore a wig and she tried to look kind of like her pre-alopecia self. And those pictures were beautiful. But then right after that, we did a second look, which was her alopecia look. No wig, no eyebrows. And the reason why she wanted to do that was she wanted to see the beauty in both versions of herself.
Right.
And that was really powerful and really amazing because honestly, both versions were beautiful and valuable. She just needed to see it and document it.
I love that. And I'm so happy I love that for her. I love that for her because having alopecia, it is something that, the feelings that you feel you internalize because yes, you can be put in a class as a cancer patient because some of the symptoms are the same physically. And having that self-love and that empowerment to see both versions in 2 different stages essentially of your life, that must have been amazing for her.
Yeah, and it was very brave too. She hadn't been out and about in the world without her wig on. So this was kind of her debut, trying to say, that's kind of what she wanted. She wanted to find a place of acceptance where she could be out and about without her wig as well. She's like, hey, I like the wig sometimes, but I want to feel confident without it too,
Yeah.
So this photo shoot was sort of the first time she was really accepting her bald head and celebrating it rather than hiding it. And so she did that in my studio in a safe space where she knew she could be herself. And she felt like after that boudoir photo shoot experience that maybe she could be out and about in the world without hair as well. So it was giving her a space to explore that look that was safe. And then I hope that she took that out into the world as well.
I'm so happy that you were actually able to provide that safe space because a lot of people don't understand how much safety means to us as women. In order for us to share anything about ourselves, there has to be a certain level of trust. And for her to trust you with that and with that look, it gave her helped her to give herself permission to just be where you're at in this moment and season of your life and just accept you are. Just accept yourself where you're at for who you are in this moment. Because sometimes those wigs can be hot.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. And I think I think of course she loved the pictures and she will take the pictures home and look at them. But had we not even created the pictures, had she just come to the studio and we'd created the pictures, but she never saw them, that in and of itself would have also been powerful, if that makes sense. So
yeah, no,
what
it makes
I'm
sense.
doing is creating that experience and that space for people to experience something. And then the pictures are a nice bonus.
Yeah. Did she cry when she saw the pictures of herself?
She did. There are a lot of tears in the Boudoir studio. Happy she did. Yes. And the great thing is, like I said, because of that same day reveal, seeing the same day, it got to be for her an experience that was all together. This experience of the hair, the experience of the no hair and the pictures with the hair and the pictures with the no hair were all one complete experience. I think it helped her kind of knit together these different views of herself, the hair and the no hair. I think sometimes we compartmentalize a lot, right? We say,
Mhm.
well, this is my work life, this is my mom life, this is my wife life, this is my whatever life, right? But when you're able to kind of knit all that together and feel like internally whole, I think there's some real power in that.
I think so too. I think so too. And I'm just happy that you see it, you see the need for it, and you provide the platform for women to actually just be free in it. I love that. I love that for us. So you had your own boudoir experience and you're helping women along the journey. How has helping these women changed you, not just professionally, but personally as well?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I've been doing boudoir now for about 10 years. And I I really feel like it is a privilege to get to know so many women in different stages of their lives. So, in my regular life, I don't always meet people who have breast cancer. Or in my regular life, I don't always sit with someone who's going through a divorce. I don't always know maybe that you've lost a pregnancy. Like, you might not share that with me. But in the boudoir studio, people share a lot of intimate details with me about their lives and what they're doing. And I sometimes say I'm like part photographer, part therapist. I mean, I'm obviously not a trained therapist, but there's a lot that happens in the studio that feels very intimate
Hmm.
in a way that, in our regular day-to-day life, when you're just in the pickup line at school, or that you don't always share those things, right? So I have felt like I have had a window open to me and learned a few things. Number one, everyone's got hard stuff in their life. Every single person is fighting a battle that you don't know anything about.
I
Um,
agree.
People are walking around with a smile on their face. They're living in a beautiful house. They have beautiful children, and you just might not know what they are really going through. I think I didn't realize you kind of know that, but you don't know that until you hear
Right.
every single woman that walks in my door. They tell me some of the things that they have powered through, that they have endured, that has happened to them. And it is incredible, the strength that women, the things that they are able to do. So that has really affected me to kind of realize, like, you just have no idea what people are carrying. You don't understand the burdens that people, the things that people are up against in their lives. So I believe, developed a greater sense of empathy and compassion for people, and just giving people the benefit of the doubt and saying, I don't know what's going on in your life, but it's probably heavy right now for you.
Yeah.
Another thing I've learned is that sexy is not a size, right? Okay, we have all been conditioned to think, I got to be a size 4, I got to
Yeah.
fit this tiny little thing, or I'm not beautiful. Listen, I have had women of all sizes and shapes, all colors, all ages, and sexy is an attitude, not a size.
That's right.
Sexy has very little to do with the measurements. Sexy has very little to do with your pant size. Sexy has hardly anything to do with your height or your age, and it has everything to do with your ability to have a good attitude and to show up and be there in the moment. I have had some really, really, quote unquote, conventionally beautiful women come in who won't open up to the experience. They won't
Mm.
they won't give me permission to let them kind of really dig in and do the boudoir as much as I'd want to. And I have had women who, quote unquote, think they're not beautiful, or they don't fit into the conventional beauty mode, just absolutely slay because they show up, they've got a great attitude, and they know how to tap into that sensual part of them. Now, I can get beautiful pictures of anybody, but the real success, I think, comes when you just let loose and be in the moment and let your true self shine. That's what sex
Yeah.
is. It's not a pant size.
Let them unleash their inner vixen.
Exactly.
I've seen on your website, like you said, women of all ages, women of, I mean, when I looked at those before and after pictures, like I said, my mouth was open and I was like, that's not that person. And
Little
then I started to see myself like, well, how would I pose for this photo shoot? So
Mhm.
how do you get people, let's say a woman comes in and yes, she's already booked you, so now she's committed, but then she's like, you know what? I'm not sure about this. How do you coax her into just being calm and just comfortable in her skin?
Yeah, that's my main job, right? It's not
Yeah.
not the lighting, it's not the camera, it's not the backdrop. Like my main job is helping people feel comfortable, right? So, and you're right, people are very nervous. Of course, to do something like this is stepping out of your comfort zone. I have had women sitting in their car in the parking lot outside of my studio call the studio number and say, "I'm not getting out of my car. I can't do this."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they booked the shoot, they've driven over there, and then they just can't quite come into the studio. So I say to them on the phone, no problem. Just come to the studio. We'll do your hair and makeup and not take the photos. Let's just get your hair and makeup done. Then you can leave. No problem. Then I get them in hair and makeup. And then I say, let's just take just one picture of you in a blazer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to wear the lingerie. And then we start having some fun. And then I say, all right, let's do one just in a tank top. Why not? Let's just see how.
Just grooming them.
And then we just, I mean, here's the thing. I would obviously never take pictures of someone that shows more skin than they're comfortable. I'm never going to talk you to do something that you don't want to do. Consent is key. However, a lot of people need a guide to help them warm up and get into the boudoir mode. And I consider my role to be that trusted guide to help you do that. I often have women say to me, I wish I'd shown more skin. I never had someone call and say, I wish I'd shown less. In 10 years of doing this, I've never had someone say, I wish I showed less. You photographed too much skin. But I have had people say, I was there. I should have just gone for it. I should have done more. So I keep that in mind and I tell people that. And I will say, listen, I'll take the photos. You don't like them? We'll delete them. Like, no big deal. This is digital photography.
Yeah.
You don't like them? I put them in the trash can immediately. No one sees them. They are gone forever, permanently deleted. But if we don't take them, you don't ever get to see them. So let's just give it a try. It's just you and me here. No one will ever have to see them. If you don't like them, we delete them. So the stakes are low. The stakes feel high when you're sitting in the parking lot freaking out. But honestly, the stakes are not as high as you think they are.
Yeah. I don't think I would be in the parking lot. I would probably come in like, fabulous.
Well, of course you would, Norine. Of course you would. You'd be ready to go. And
I've been thinking about it for a long time.
Some women are not nervous, and that's great too. But the majority of women, so I photograph, you have to be 21 or older, of course. So, but most women who come to my studio are 30 plus. They are women who have been through a little bit of life, you know. They're not just starting out. So sometimes I think as we get a little older, we get more nervous to do something like this, or maybe we were raised in a different kind of environment that gave us a little bit more inhibitions. I don't know, but no matter who you are or how old you are, I would love to have you in the studio.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of the apprehension with women is the judgment. It's the judgment behind it all. Oh, you're posing naked. I'm like, well, it's tastefully. It's not just you're just putting it all out there like, Playboy magazine or anything. It's tastefully done and it's not everything all at once. It's, like I've seen, it's maybe a little butt, but the lighting, the way it hits, is like you have to, it's like art.
Yeah.
It's like art.
I think the human body is a work of art, right? And I think it deserves to be celebrated and not shamed. Like, I don't think there is any part of the human body that is wrong or a mistake or that can't be celebrated, right? So now, are some parts meant for certain eyes only? Like, sure, but that doesn't mean it can't be beautiful and artistic, right? Like, I'm not advocating you going to work tomorrow without clothes on. Let's be clear. There's, but I do believe that art is powerful, and the human body is beautiful and can be shown as a work of art. I mean, think back to, Michelangelo's David. Think back to like some of the earliest works of art were, nude, our classic, our tradition. There is a lot of human history has shown the human body to be a beautiful, wonderful thing to be celebrated. And there are only, I think, we happen to be born into like a century that there is some shame around the human body, right? Like the Puritan like tradition that has kind of taught us that like the body is not to be enjoyed or viewed. Like I think we're in the minority actually in the terms
of celebrated.
Yeah, I think most of human history, the human body's been seen as like a reflection of divinity and goodness, and I think it's fantastic to celebrate the body.
I think so too. So let's shift gears for a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your podcast and what do you talk about?
Yeah, I have a podcast called Live with Liz, and I interview women who are making a difference. So I like to elevate voices of women who are in their own way empowered themselves and empowering other women. So recently I've had some women on, I've had a divorce lawyer come in and talk about what every woman needs to know about divorce. I've had a anxiety and trauma therapist come and talk about managing our emotions. I've also had a reality star on. Last week, my interview was with Madison Myers. She's on Married at First Sight, which was shot in Chicago this season, and had her talk about what it meant to be on a reality TV show. So I just love to hear women from all walks of life and what they're doing and how they are living their lives and empowering other women.
And I've been watching that Married at First Sight Chicago. Now, if I remember correctly, was she the one that was being naughty?
She was a little bit naughty on that season. Yes. She was. Blonde. Yeah, she doesn't go with the guy she started with. Let's just say that. No, she does not. But it was interesting talking to her about that and the choices she made on the show. And I think it's, I just love hearing people's stories. I love hearing what makes them tick. I love hearing about the hard things and the good things. I have like just this infinite interest in hearing about other people. So I love stories, even though she has kind of a controversial, experience on that show. I still want to hear why she did what she did.
I mean, when you feel it, you feel it. Sometimes I've been watching since the first season. And so sometimes when you get these matches, I've even watched the Australian version. Like I watch it all. I love social experiments. And I saw that before everybody else saw that. And I was like,
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing about that show, okay, so you go to the altar and you marry a stranger, right? And then you have to see if it works or not. Well, within like one day, it was pretty clear that this was not going to work out with the guy she got set up with. And I mean, talking to her, it's pretty clear that they weren't even really in a relationship in the sense that they weren't emotionally connected. They weren't physically connected. They weren't romantically interested in each other. Yeah. So yes, she stepped out and started dating another guy. And yes, that was framed as cheating on the show. But in my opinion, she wasn't really cheating in the sense that she wasn't really in a relationship with that other guy, if that makes sense, even though they were married. I know it's a convoluted
well,
but he was a stranger to her essentially, so how can you cheat on someone that you're not in a relationship with?
Yeah, I think everyone has their own definition of what they think cheating is. I guess if we go into the sense of were you with someone else while you were legally married, it would be essentially cheating.
Correct.
However, with these experiments, I think sometimes the experts get it wrong, but I still would think that it's still a win. Just take the win because you still made a match. It was just a mismatch because I would have also thought that the husband that she was paired with would have been better off with the wife that he was paired with because they seemed a little more aligned. So I think it was just really crossed.
It was like a little like spouse swap. Yeah. And listen, love, if you find love on a reality TV show, like more power to you. I'm not going to go on one, but like, I'm glad she found love in the end.
I am too. I'm glad. I love love and I'm a hopeless romantic. And, I always like to see how people react to certain situations. And that's definitely a pressure cooker of a situation to be in. I take marriage very seriously. So I couldn't be in the anxiety that I would have just to not know who my person is. The inner Gemini, the takeover spirit would come over me, and I would just have so much anxiety. I would probably get married with hives all over my face because I would just be so nervous and anxious to just figure out who this person is and all of the what ifs and the things that can go wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think marrying a stranger at the altar is for me either. You want to know something funny about that show, though? My husband, so I've been married almost 20 years. My husband loves that show. I don't know how I convinced him to watch it, but once I did, he was hooked. We watched every minute of the last season, and he was like on Reddit looking for behind the scenes information, and he wanted to debrief and talk about each episode. It's funny that this man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, and not only do you have that podcast, you spoke on the TEDx stage and you were really trying to encourage folks that, hey, nudity doesn't have to be naughty. Can you share a little bit about the heart of that message?
Yeah. So I believe that going and having a nude experience of some kind is a powerful thing and everyone should do it. What do I mean by a nude experience? Okay. I mean, taking nude photos at a boudoir studio. I mean, posing nude for an art class to sketch you. I mean, going to one of those places that is a Korean spa where everyone is naked together in the room. I mean, maybe going skinny dipping at a secluded lake. Okay. Why do I say this? Now, first off, it needs to be consensual. Okay. I'm not advocating for you, like I said, showing up at work naked, but I think getting in touch.
Unless that's the job.
Yes. So consensual, safe nude experiences. Here's why. I think it allows you to get in touch with sort of the most basic part of you, which is your body. It's strip away some things, find out who you are, overcome some of that taboo, some of that shame that you may have learned earlier in your life, that your body was bad, that it wasn't worthy, that it wasn't the right size, that it wasn't the right this, that, whatever. You are perfect just as you are. Your body is a vehicle that allows you to do fabulous things. It's your home for your soul while you're here on earth, right? And it deserves to be celebrated and loved and documented and experienced. And that's why I gave a TEDx talk about that I just think this is a powerful exercise. If you've never done a nude experience, I just encourage you to try one out.
I was hoping the audience somebody would have gotten up and had their nude experience right there at your talk.
I tried to let them, so I wanted, as part of my talk, to do a little striptease. I mean, I wasn't going to go, but they were like, no, please don't do that. So at one point during the talk, I act like I'm going to take off my jacket, but then I put it back on. That was as much as they would let me do.
Can you imagine all of the complaints they would have gotten? Or, I mean, hey, it may not have been complaints. It might have been like, hey, yeah, you might have set the stage for another TEDx talk.
Again, consensual, right? So if they hadn't signed up for it, it has to be consensual. So I understand. But, I think we're really squeamish about the body. And
yeah, I think so too.
And I would love to just see a little movement on that in our cultural awareness that, like, a body is a body. We've all got one. And it's not like, oh, she showed her shoulders, or,
I know. Like,
right? You rolled your eyes. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
I know. I know. So how do you challenge the misconceptions around nudity, especially when it comes to boudoir?
I don't really spend a lot of time with people who hate what I do. I'll say that. So my job is not to convince people that what I'm doing is valuable or beautiful. It's to attract the people who already are interested. So I put out my message there of, your body is beautiful, worth documenting, worth celebrating. And if you don't agree with me, that's fine. I even have some people in my life, in my own family, who think what I do is kind of naughty and not okay. And that's all right. You know what I mean? I'm here to provide this service and this space and this moment for women who want to experience it. And the people who aren't going to come. And that's okay. I think early on in my career, I was kind of like, oh, I'm going to convince people. I'm going to change minds. And I've kind of come around to just thinking, no, I'm here to offer what I have to offer. You can take it or leave it, and it's okay
Pretty
if you
much.
me.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Not everything you do, people are gonna like. And it's like no matter what you do in life, there are always going to be people out there that is going to have something to say, whether it's good or it's bad. You could be doing the Lord's work, and they will still find something to say about it. So you just have to do you and just be in your own peace, so to speak.
Yes, and boudoir is kind of polarizing, right? It's not like it's not boring and it's not neutral, right? So like if I say I'm a boudoir photographer, there's almost always a reaction. If I go to a networking event or something, people go, "Oh, you do what?" You know what I mean? It's
You
not
always
like,
get the raised eyebrow.
yeah. So my business and my life kind of exists in a space where I know that it's like kind of a touch point. It's kind of a taboo. It's kind of naughty, right? So I'm prepared for that. And I try to manage my message for the audience. So for example, if I'm at a PTA meeting, I don't just stand up and be like, "Hey guys, nudity is so great." Like I understand the context and I'll just say, "Oh, I take pictures of women." It's kind of like glamour shots, I'll kind of tone down my message. But if I'm talking to you and I'm talking about what I really believe in, I can be more upfront about what I do. But I never want to put someone in a position where they feel uncomfortable. And so I am aware that what I do is in that space of taboo kind of, I do sometimes have to kind of manage my message based on the audience, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
and that's understandable. Big, of course, considering what your business is, you know. So yeah, I had a question for you, and I just giggled myself completely out of the question. Um, what is the wildest boudoir shoot that you've ever done?
Okay, I do have some good stories. Um, One thing is that like I like to encourage women if they want to bring a little prop or an accessory with them to their photo shoot, they can. So something to personalize it. And a lot of women bring really fun things. So I've had women bring in like a lightsaber because they really love Star Wars, or they bring in an apron because they love to bake and they want to incorporate
Okay.
that in, or a set of boxing gloves because they have taken up boxing and they want to show how fierce they are. I love all of this. Occasionally, though, I've had a few like interesting requests. So I did have someone ask me if they could bring in their pet rat, and I had to be like, no, no live animals. So
Yeah, and definitely not a rat.
no live animals. Yeah, I know some
Good
people love
gosh.
their rats. I also don't allow smoking in the studio, and sometimes
Mhm.
people want to do something like that, and I just
Yeah.
have to say no to that. Um,
Smoke art.
yeah, and listen, smoke itself is beautiful, but I don't allow tobacco products in the studio.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, so I do sometimes get some sort of interesting requests like that. I've had a lot of beautiful tattoos, a lot of beautiful body art come in. But I've also had a lot of requests for tattoos to be photoshopped out, like, "Oh, that's my ex.
Mm.
Let's take that one off." you know.
That's
Uh,
pretty funny.
yeah, so mostly stuff like that. I don't anything that you want to bring, like let's say I can think of any random thing. Like let's say you wanted to bring in a pen because you're a writer. We could do boudoir with a pen. Like let's say you want to bring in a microphone because you're a podcaster. We could do boudoir with a microphone. Let's say you want to bring in a stethoscope because you just graduated from nursing school. We could do that. Like whatever it is that you want to bring in to celebrate you and your life right now, we can incorporate it.
I love it. I love it. What about if I wanted to bring my husband in?
Now, listen, that's couples boudoir, and that's really fun. It's not a service that I offer, but I'm happy to refer you to some other photographers.
Mm.
It's a little bit of a different art form because you're dealing with two people instead of one.
Yeah.
But I think it's really fun, and you should totally sign up for it.
I don't know if I could convince my husband to sign up for it.
That's also part of the assignment. You'd have to convince him. Yeah. But
That's
listen,
step one.
yeah, there's some really beautiful, really tasteful couples boudoir out there, and it's just not a service that I currently offer. In the same way that I don't do groups of any kind. I only ever have one person in the studio at one time, and that's because I really want. The reason I've created my business to really focus on the woman. I want her to have this experience for her. I want her to come in and I want her to remember this for the rest of her life. So she'll be at my studio for
Absolutely.
a few hours, but I want her to be the queen for the day. I want to focus on her and her story and really capture her unique beauty, just her. I feel like as women, so often we're like in relationship with other people. Like, I'm so-and-so's wife, I'm so-and-so's mom, I'm so-and-so's employee, I'm so-and-so's boss, right? And fine, we wear a lot of hats. But for one day at the Boudoir studio, I want this to be just about you. I want you to be the star of the day. I want you to have your preferences. I want to listen to you and your story. So I don't want this to be about you and your husband, even though that's cool and you should do that. What I am trying to create is this one carved out moment where it's just you and your fabulousness.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. We put everyone before ourselves. This is our moment to shine. I
Exactly.
love it.
I read a thing recently that really resonated with me, which was this, that, and this is stereotype. I know this doesn't apply to everyone. It's kind of a stereotype, but that for men, primarily their spiritual journey and their emotional journey involves kind of putting other people first and becoming and being a little bit more humble, being a servant leader. Whereas for women, for females, our spiritual journey is to elevate ourselves and to not
Mm,
always put ourselves below each. You see the difference there. For men, they need to learn to come down, and for women, we need to learn to come up. And I know this is not true for all men and for all women, but the masculine energy and the feminine energy, it just really resonated with me that a lot of women need to learn how to stand on their own feet, rise up and claim their own power. There's this, like, we don't need to take in the message as much to sacrifice ourselves and to do things for other people. We do that naturally a lot. We already
mm.
give so much. What our spiritual work sometimes needs to be is doing something for ourselves, recognizing our own power. When I heard that, it really resonated with me, because I have spent a lot of my life tamping myself down, giving to others, putting my needs and wants last. Not always a bad thing, but there is a moment to claim your own power as well.
I love it. I love it. Well, as we close, Miss Liz, I want you to finish this sentence for me. Every woman deserves to feel,
Powerful.
oh, now that's powerful. That's powerful.
And here's why. I think a lot of women feel powerless. I can't
That's
change
true.
this. I'm a victim. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. I don't know how to find happiness. I can't change this. I was born this way. And I would love for women to turn that on its head and say, I can choose. I can choose my path. I have the knowledge and wisdom within me to make decisions. I don't have to listen to this or that voice that's telling me I'm not enough, because I'm powerful within myself.
Period. I love it. I love it. Wouldn't change one thing about that sentence. So now, what does it mean to you now to stand in front of the world and say nudity doesn't have to be naughty?
Yeah, I stand by it. I stand by it. I think there are a lot of people. I mean, just saying the word nudity, people are like, "Oh no!"
I
Like,
know, like myself, sign me up for
yeah.
that.
I mean, I stood up on that TEDx stage and I said, like, "Hey, you should go out and be naked." And people were like, I mean, there were people who were having like reactions in the audience to what I said, and just even suggesting the idea that you should do something nude is kind of like a subversive idea, right? Like, I think a lot of people can't even get their heads around it. So, I mean, I stand by it. Give it a try. Start small. Like, for example, if you always cover up when you change in the gym locker room, try just being cool and putting on your bathing suit or your gym clothes without feeling like you have to hide your body, right?
Mm,
Start small. Book one of those hotel rooms that has a pool or a hot tub inside. You don't even have to have a partner. Go and just walk around naked and feel the beauty of your own body. Look at your own naked body in a mirror
yeah,
and say nice things to it.
yeah,
Privacy of your own home, right? I'm not saying you have to go out on a mountaintop naked and take photos. Just start small.
yeah.
Say beautiful things to your body about how much you appreciate what your body does for you and the things it allows you to do. Look at parts of your body that you've always criticized and put your hand on that part of your body and say, I'm sorry I've always been cruel to you. I'm going to do better. I appreciate you, right? Start there and see where it takes you.
I love that. I love that because I recently started just appreciating her for who she is and whatever all my childbirth scars and everything that I've got going on. Like I'm like, listen, it is what it is. This body has life, you know, and it's been through life. So let's just love her where she's at, how she looks. If I love it, I love it. If I don't love it, I can change it. You know, everything is up to the person to decide how they want to live their life and how they want to view themselves. So I love all of that. So I am quite sure that everything you said today, our listeners is going to carry with them after this episode. So where can they find you on your social media handles, the podcast, the website, all of it?
Yeah, so my website's chicagoboudoir.com. I see it scrolling on the screen right now, but if you're listening, boudoir is a little hard to spell. It's BOUDOIR.com. And if you go there, you can find a link to a couple of things that you might find interesting. One is a Facebook group that I run. It's 10,000 local women. And I post in there every day empowering thoughts, thought-provoking questions. And it's a really uplifting community. I would love to have you join. It's free. It's on Facebook. And then I also have a page on there. If you go to my website, you'll see it as well. Just it says free stuff. And I've got some ebooks, some empowering cards you can print off, a text club you can join where I'll text you an empowering thought once a day for 30 days. A lot of free stuff on there. Just would love to have you check out and see what interests you.
I love it. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Liz. Listen, I've learned so much about the boudoir world. You know, it's not as taboo or as scary or as provocative as people may think it is. It's more of an art, you know, and it's more of a self-love, self-care.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I love the work that you're doing to lift women up, and keep up all the work you're doing as well.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. I think we are both aligned in trying to uplift and empower women to basically live their best lives for them, not anyone else. Because we need to really start putting ourselves first. Honestly, it's time. It's 2025. I'm dubbing it the year of the woman. You know, even though it seems to be going otherwise. So, we want women to really be empowered and just be safe in their own skin and feel great and be able to just speak out when they're not and reach out and tap another woman, and help each other feel strong, but put our own mask on first. We can't pour from an empty cup. So we have to be safe and secure within ourselves if we're going to go ahead and help the next lady. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. I thank everyone that was on listening. I hope that you guys have gathered something from it. Ms. Liz's website is on the bottom of the screen. I also put it in the chat. If you can just click that link, it'll take you straight there. And for those of you that are in the Peoria, Illinois area, you can also click the link for an upcoming mother and daughter session that Save Our Sisters has coming. It is a networking kind of event, but it is basically to just heal and heal, replenish, and just savor the bonds between mothers and daughters. I know a lot of mothers and daughters, oh man, we go through it. We go through it. There are times where we love them and then times we want to strangle them, but it's all in how we really just embrace the role as a mother and how we really just translate how we should be as mothers to our daughters, and of course, daughters to our own mothers. So just trying to strengthen those bonds, trying to talk about some things. We're going to have lunch, of course, so that's going to be great. So it's going to be on May 10th from 12 to 3 p.m. The theme is She is a Queen. So we're going to treat everyone like queens. If you're available May 10th, which that might be a busy weekend for you, but if you want to make the drive down, we'd be more than happy to have you, since I don't get a lot of interviewers that are in my state.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the invite.
Yeah, so the Eventbrite link is in the comments as well. So, if you have some time on your hands and if you're not doing anything, or if you just want to kickstart your Mother's Day weekend, come see about us. We're going to be at the public library. It's just open and, for everyone to come out and bring your daughters. We want to encourage mothers and daughters to come together. So if you can swing it, if your schedules align, please come out and have a little bit of lunch with us. So, any last words before we close?
Just thanks for having me on. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for gracing my stage and blessing my audience. So we will talk soon. Peace and blessings.